3 weeks ago I was here with the roofers. They came to put down the layers underneath the metal and to do the final measurements. And that went really great on the main part of the house. You can see the white membrane, that's waterproofing. Below that is a layer of product called Densdeck. It's a gypsum fiber material that purpose is to prevent heat from say a burning branch that lands on the roof and being transmitted through the metal into what's underneath it and starting a fire. So that's Densdeck and then some waterproofing material. So we're making progress. Here we are after 2 days of roofing. We've got at least 2 more days to go. Yesterday they did soffits and eaves and fascias. Fascias are the side pieces of the eaves that come down. The soffits are the underside. We're wrapping the metal all the way up underneath because underneath the soffits is where the embers will swirl and catch things on fire. So it's important to protect that area either with fireproof materials like stucco or with metal in our case. So we did metal underneath the eaves. And there's some interesting things they had to do to make this work. Conventionally, you have a groove that goes down on one side of it, and this is the prefabricated panel that goes into it. So they fasten this down and then they slide these in and mate them up one against the other. There's a little overlap here that works really well. But the problem with just doing it like this is you can see that if they press a little bit hard, they could get a gap here. And so to avoid that, they take conventional insulation and they cut it to size and they stick it in here. And then when this goes in, you can't push it down. And that provides you a nice clean line all the way down the side. So the metal roofing guys are very exact on their measurements. And they're always complaining about the framers not doing it right. If you look down that straight line, it should be a straight edge all the way down. But you see there's a little bit of variation in it. It bows in and out a little bit. The framers aren't as exact as the metal guys would like. In a conventionally roofed house, that little bit of difference wouldn't make any difference. But when you put the metal on it, which acts like a mirror when it's wet, like it is today because it's raining, you can see it. They've been working on all that, getting ready to do the big job today. They brought in a big press truck, and that guy was really well paid and very good at what he did. So his name was Joshua. He came in with this really cool trailer rig and 2 very large spools of metal. The spools of metal each weighed about 1,800 pounds, and the machine took them in, bent them on both sides. It started as flat metal and they had to bend, the standing seam. You have one lock on one side and a different lock on the other so that you just work your way across the place. And then it also put in some ribs. That prevents oil canning. Oil canning is when a piece of metal is really flat and temperature variation occurs, so it starts to swell in some places and then it'll pop. And so it'll have like these pop areas and depressions. And to prevent that, they put seams along there or ridges along there. And there's 2 common styles. One is called striations, and that's just basically a zigzag pattern like this. And then the other is called flat ribs, which you go about 8 inches, and then you have a little step up and a little step over and a little step down, and then another 8 inches. And those are vertical lines. That's what we chose. And so the machine, they set it to do all of that stuff. Flat ribs. So that machine did a really good job giving us accurate bends on the metal. The machine itself costs about $120,000, and then you buy dies, and the dies are those metal pieces that form the metal into the different shapes. And they have 8 different sets of dies they use, and a die set costs between $25,000 and $35,000. So they got a lot of money in that truck, and he was very protective of it. The first day they came to work with it, it was raining, and he wouldn't operate his truck in the rain. He left. So we had to have him come back. So today, they spent a lot of time setting up, getting everything calibrated just so, ran off a test piece that looked great, and then they went into production and they started cranking. And they went really fast. It was probably about 2 hours, and they had spit out all the different pieces that they needed. Once they line them up, they started to prepare them to be put on the roof. And a couple things have to happen. The first thing they did is they take the ends, the long skinny panel, and at the end they want to fold it under. and give it a nice clean edge. So they have to cut the channel away and then bend it over using a press brake, a manual press brake in this case, which holds it and gives you a perfect bend. And they clipped it underneath. So every panel had the ends prepped. Then they had to get them up on the roof, and they tried a couple different things, and they finally settled for, just like the roofers did, manpower being the answer. And so they had 3 guys on the bottom and 2 guys on the top, and they set up a ladder so they could get it partway up in the air for the grab. They got them up, and as fast as they could pull them off the stack and get them up onto the roof, they laid them down. It went bing, bang, boom really fast. And before you know it, we got half of our roof done. Tomorrow, we're worried about rain, so we're going to check it in the morning. There's a decent chance that tomorrow we will finish, and they will do the finish on the top out anyway, finish the top side. They still have some detail work around the corners, and the portico needs to be covered. So there's really 1.5 to 2 days worth of work left. It's entirely possible that the rain will keep the guys from coming tomorrow, in which case we're going to have to push it out into next week. And hopefully I'll be able to come to that, because this is a really fun thing to watch.